Hi, and welcome to Conectados, a weekly space where we connect with resources, with technology, with ideas, with neighbors, with stories, and much more. I'm your host, Cris Oviedo, and I am really happy to be with you today. Conectados is a space that connects us to one another and brings us together. And today we're connecting with our weekly financial wellness segment, the real estate tip of the week. We will also celebrate nurses. We'll hear directly from a nurse, and we'll have much more for you. And we start our show this week, with our holiday segments where we take a look at some of the holidays that are happening between April 30th through May 6th. So whether you're looking at the most exciting celebrations happening from May 7th through the May 13th. So let's go ahead and jump right in. We're kicking off with Project ACES Day today. ACES stands for All Children Exercise Simultaneously. And this global event started in 1989 when physical education teacher Len Saunders wanted to promote fitness in schools. At 10 a.m. today, millions of children in over 50 countries will be exercising together. What a powerful way to promote physical activity. Now, for the adults, it is also National Cosmopolitan Day, celebrating that iconic pink cocktail made famous in the late 90s with vodka, cranberry juice, triple sec, and lime. So today, do your physical activity first and then raise a glass this evening. Thursday, May 8th brings us time of remembrance and reconciliation for those who lost their lives during the Second World War. This United Nations observance encourages us to honor the victims of World War II and reflect on the importance of peace. Take a moment tomorrow to remember their sacrifices. Friday is Fantastic Friday, giving sharks a voice. This special day raises awareness about the importance of sharks to our ocean ecosystems and the threats that they face. Despite their fearsome reputation, sharks are vital to maintaining healthy oceans, and many species are endangered due to the overfishing and habitat loss. Saturday brings us two important celebrations. First is World Lupus Day, established in 2004 to raise awareness about this chronic autoimmune disease affecting over 5 million people worldwide. Often called the great imitator because its symptoms mimic other conditions, lupus needs more research and understanding. Saturday is also National Train Day, commemorating the anniversary of the 1869 Golden Spike ceremony that completed America's first transcontinental railroad. Although Amtrak officially discontinued the holiday in 2016, train enthusiasts around the country still celebrate with museum visits and special train rides. All aboard! Sunday is Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all women who are mothers and mother figures in people's lives. This day is celebrated on the second Sunday in May. The modern American Mother's Day began when Anna Jarvis held a memorial for her mother in 1907, and by 1914, President Woodrow Wilson made it an official holiday. So remember to show extra appreciation to all the maternal figures in your life, not only on Sunday, but every day. Monday marks the second day of National Nurses Week, which runs from May 6th to May 12th, ending on Florence Nightingale's birthday. Nurses are the backbone of our healthcare system, providing essential care, comfort, and compassion to patients. If you know a nurse, Monday is a perfect day to express your gratitude for the dedication. And actually, today we are going to be highlighting a nurse here in our community, so stay tuned for that conversation. And we wrap our week with National Hummus Day on Tuesday. This creamy Middle Eastern dip made from chickpeas, tahini, olive oil, and lemon juice isn't just delicious, it is packed with protein, fiber, and healthy fats. So whether you prefer it with pita, veggies, or straight from the container, Tuesday is your day to celebrate this versatile food. And that's all for this week's holiday happenings. I hope you will use them as an excuse to spread some love, celebrate loved ones, celebrate nurses, and also spread awareness wherever you can. Up next, we have our Financial Weekly segment brought to us by our good friends of Making Change.
All right. We're back. It's Jasmine Brewer again from Making Change, here to talk to you about a different way for you to manage your money, especially if you're thinking about helping your child or maybe even yourself go to school at some point. There is something called a 529 savings plan. What is that, do you ask? It's a state-sponsored savings account designed to save for college. One of the big benefits of this account, and the reason why it was created, to give another tax benefit to reward you for saving and putting money away for college. So these plans are set up to allow states to establish and administer, or meaning deliver, tax-deferred college savings programs. These are the only plans that offer an annual Maryland state income subtraction where any earnings and contributions can be used tax-free. Yes, you heard that right. Tax-free for eligible qualified education or qualified disability expenses. Another benefit of this program in Maryland is that you can take advantage of a tax deduction when you save for college through this program. So do you think that's interesting to you? Do you want to know more? You're in the right place now. So there are two types of plans in the state of Maryland for a 529 that you could look at to see which one works best for you. First, there's the Maryland College Investment Plan. This allows individuals to invest in various portfolios, so different stocks, but it's on a risk tolerance and time horizon, meaning this is all dependent on how much risk you'd like to take. If we think about the stock market for a moment, you can decide, do I want to work with riskier investments or would I prefer to stay more neutral? This plan gives you that option. So the contributions in this investment plan grow tax-free, withdrawals are tax-free when they're used for qualified education expenses such as tuition, fees, room, and board. This even can cover kindergarten and 12th grade tuition up to $10,000 per year. Maryland residents may be eligible for state tax deductions or matching grants for contributions. This plan, this is really key here, this plan is directly sold, managed, and distributed by T. Rowe Price. So you would only be able to take advantage of this plan through that company. The second option you would have is what's called a Maryland Prepaid College Trust. This is a prepaid tuition plan where Maryland offers a state tax deduction for contributions to a 529 plan up to $2,500 for a single filer, meaning tax filer, or up to $5,000 for married jointly tax filers. This plan allows for rollovers into the state plan. So if you have a state plan, you would be able to roll over any funds over into this plan if you choose to do so. This plan offers qualified distributions, including what I just said a moment ago, kindergarten to 12th grade, student loans. That's a big one. So you could even use these funds that you've already put away and saved that are growing to pay off student loans. Could roll over to a Roth IRA and non-qualified distribution taxes, penalties, and recapture. I want to say that that last piece is really key and important because sometimes it may happen where You might not use all the funds from your 529 plan. So the question is always, well, what can I do with it if I have to use it for qualified education expenses? This second plan, the Maryland Prepaid College Trust, gives you the opportunity that your child will be able to roll over these funds to a Roth IRA in the event that you don't use all the money to pay for a college expense or an education expense. You could also use it to help them pay off student loans. So does that sound helpful? If it does, reach out to us at Making Change. We'd be happy to give you more information and resources of how you exactly walk step by step to be able to set that plan up. Do these tips sound helpful for you, and do you want to know more? We will be back next week to give you a few more that might be helpful for you. And remember, if there is something that you want to know about that we haven't talked about yet, please send us a message so that we can make sure that we include this in some upcoming episodes. See you next week.
Thank you to Jasmine and her team at Making Change for her partnership. Next, we have Santiago Carrera with the real estate tip of the week.
Santiago Carrera here with another tip while you're selling your home. Make sure you have your mortgage statement handy at the moment of selling your home. Also, if you belong to an HOA or a homeowners association, make sure you provide that information to your realtor. At that moment, you should be ordering the resale package, which has to be provided to the potential buyer or buyers of your property. If you have a condominium, make sure you have that information handy, and also you request a resale packet for the buyer to review it before closing. If you have a front foot benefit, which it means that when you bought your house, there is a cost of connecting the water and sewer into your property. Usually those bills are for like 20 or 30 years. If you don't disclose and provide that information to the buyer, you might end up paying off that money from your pocket. So make sure you have those documents and inform and disclose that information to the potential buyer or at the time where you are putting your house on the market. If a buyer does not receive these HOA documents or condominium documents or front foot benefit disclosure, they might end up canceling the contract. So if you want to avoid any potential delays at the time of your selling your home, make sure you disclose this very important information to the buyer. See you next week with another tip while you're selling your home.
Thanks to Santiago Carrera and his team as well for partnering with us and bringing us tips every week. Did you know that by age 30, our bodies begin producing less collagen, the essential protein that maintains skin elasticity and supports joint health? This natural decline contributes to common signs of aging like wrinkles and decreased skin volume. Emerging research suggests that consuming collagen in liquid form might help replenish these diminishing levels from within. But with so many options available, what should you look for in an effective collagen supplement? Up next, we'll explore the science behind drinkable collagen and why formulations containing both type 1 and 3 collagen combined with hyaluronic acid and essential vitamins offer comprehensive benefits. Notice your skin doesn't bounce back like it used to? Those fine lines becoming more visible? Maybe you've tried countless creams and serums, but nothing seems to make a lasting difference. That's because true beauty starts from within. By your late 20s, your body's natural collagen production begins declining by about 1% each year, which means that by age 40, you've lost up to 20% of your collagen. This essential protein is what keeps your skin firm, your joints flexible, and your hair strong. But there is good news. You can replenish what time takes away. Drinkable collagen has revolutionized the beauty industry for one simple reason. It works where topical products cannot reach. When you drink collagen, you're delivering these vital proteins directly to your bloodstream, where they can be transported throughout your body. This means benefits not just for your skin, but for your hair, your nails, your joints, and even gut health. Did you know that collagen makes up 75% of your skin structure? Drinking collagen daily has been shown to improve skin elasticity by up to 30% and to also increase hydration and reduce the depth and visibility of wrinkles. Many users report a natural, healthy glow that no makeup can replicate. Collagen also provides the amino acids needed to build keratin, the protein that forms your hair and nails. Users typically notice stronger nails that don't chip or break as easily and thicker, shinier hair with less fallout. Also, as the cushioning between your joints diminishes with age, collagen helps rebuild this essential padding, reducing stiffness and discomfort while improving mobility. The amino acids in collagen also help repair the intestinal lining, potentially improving digestive issues and enhancing nutrient absorption. Collagen supports your body's natural healing processes overall. It also strengthens blood vessels and may even help regulate metabolism. But here is the key. Consistency is everything. Daily consumption creates a steady supply of these building blocks, allowing your body to continuously repair and regenerate. Missing even a few days can interrupt this process, which is why making it part of your morning routine is so important. Not all collagen supplements are created equal. Pharmacy's drinkable collagen stands head and shoulders above the competition. Made with premium marine collagen peptides, the most bioavailable form on the market, so that your body can absorb and utilize up to 90% of what you consume, compared to just 30 to 40% with many competitors. Plus, a perfect combination of collagen type 1, vitamin C, and many other powerful nutrients makes this the perfect formula to give you maximum results. The secret to transformative results isn't in occasional use. It is in making pharmacy collagen part of your daily ritual. Many users report noticing firmer skin within 4 weeks, with dramatic improvements in skin texture, hair thickness, and nail strength by 8 weeks. But these benefits only continue as long as you maintain your collagen routine. Think of it as an investment in yourself. Just 30 seconds each morning for vibrant skin, stronger nails, thicker hair, and more comfortable joints throughout your day. Isn't it time you nourish your beauty from within? Contact me if you have any questions. Experience the pharmacy difference and discover why thousands have made it the daily must-have. Because real beauty goes deeper than the skin. If you'd like to get more information about the liquid collagen or simply get yours, I place a link on the comments for you, or I'm doing that right now as I'm trying to work here with technology. I'm placing that link and that phone number in the comments for you. If you'd like to explore, this is something that I'm personally consuming daily now. This is a new part of my life, new part of my care routine, and that's why I love sharing it with you so that you can benefit from it as well. This week is Nurses Week, an opportunity to celebrate the dedication, the compassion, the resilience of nursing professionals who form the backbone of our healthcare system. Nurses Week is observed annually from May 6 to May 12, and it coincides with Florence Nightingale's birthday. It gives us an opportunity to recognize the invaluable contributions that nurses make every day. And to celebrate Nurses Week, I had the opportunity to have a beautiful conversation actually last night at 7 p.m. And I'm sharing this with you because after a full day of work, Cristina Obregon was so kind to connect with me, still in her car, still wearing her scrubs. After a long day seeing patients, she took the time to have a conversation with me. You're going to hear about the care, the joy, also some of the challenges. You're going to hear what it really is like, what happens in those 12 hours when you're in the shift at a hospital. But really what I hope that you hear most and what connects with you most is the fact that this person who might be going through many things in her own life, whenever nurses are at work, whenever they come into that shift, They leave that behind and they become this advocate for you. They become your caregiver. They become your connection. They become your friend. They become your eyes, your ears, your right hand, your mouth. So I hope that this, if anyone who is watching and listening is a nurse, I hope that you will know how much appreciation, how much more appreciation I gained from the conversation with Christine, and how much more I salute you, and I really, just honor the work that you do. So I hope you'll stay with me and watch the next interview. This week is Nurses Week, and it is a very special week. I don't think that we understand all of the sacrifices and all of the hard work and all of the heart that goes into the career of nursing. So it really is truly an honor for me to celebrate this week and to have a guest who's going to share her journey as a nurse, what that career is like. We're going to hear firsthand of, some of the joys, some of the challenges, and everything else in between in this career of nursing. So please help me welcome Cristina Obregon here to Conectados. And I appreciate so much, Cristina, you taking the time to being with me, connecting with me. I cannot thank you enough. So thank you very much and welcome to Conectados.
It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
So, Nurses Week, and I actually always start my show Conectados kind of like looking at the holidays that are happening throughout that week. And sometimes, they're silly. Sometimes it's like chocolate chip cookie, and sometimes is something more serious, right? Like remembering something that happened years ago and the importance of not repeating it and things like that, right? So it varies. And then you have weeks like this week, nursing week. Tell us a little bit about, what it means to you to have a whole week where we are focused, where we are really paying attention, where we are highlighting, this career of nursing. What does it mean to you? And how do you and your colleagues typically celebrate this time? Do you guys celebrate it?
Well, it's nice to be honored as a nurse. It's nice to be thought of. It is a great week. Colleagues wise, I'm not working in the hospital anymore, so but my friends that I have, most of them are nurses because to be in this profession, it's not easy, right? And it's good to have friends that are in a profession because we get one another and we understand the challenges that we go through. We understand the ups and the downs and our lingo that we have. It's a whole other language. So we may go out to dinner, we may go to a movie, we may just have, a conversation or just, hang out and celebrate each other. Or some nurses buy themselves gifts, or they may work an overtime shift and be able to purchase something that they've wanted for a long time to say, I worked really hard this year, or I've done really good this year, so I'm going to get myself something nice. And that's how they celebrate themselves. To me, it's not just another week. It is a week where we're looked upon and honored. And so, um, we take advantage of the freebies of whatever restaurant is offering them. Dunkin' Donuts with their coffee. Chipotle used to do it with burrito. Um, other places. So we do try to take advantage of it through that way as well. So, yeah, that's kind of how we celebrate it. Um, and that's how we like to look at it.
You mentioned so many different ways, right, in which others honor you, but that honoring yourselves and working an extra shift so you can go and buy yourself something nice. I mean, that speaks loudly. So we're already
Mhm.
learning what, being a nurse, it's like just from that statement right there. I
Yeah.
am very curious about your journey. What inspired you to become a nurse? What is this something you dreamed about, or how did you get to this career?
My journey is a long one. And it's something I want to do as a child. But I didn't come from a family that really promoted education. My parents were more of the blue collar type family, work hard, get a decent job, working for the government, what have you, and you'll be fine. Education is not necessarily necessary, right? And then I came in a crossroad in my life where I gave birth to a preemie that weighed 2 pounds, 3 ounces. He was born at 26 weeks. And I found myself in the throes of a NICU and hearing the lingo and so forth, and found myself really curious and really wanting to explore that, but becoming a new mom. And I mentioned to my husband, you know, I always wanted, my husband and I were talking one day, and he's like, is there something you always wanted to do? And I was like, yeah, I always wanted to be a nurse. And he said, well, why don't you go do that? And I said, well, we just had a baby. And he said, I didn't ask you that. He said, go sign up for classes. And I was like, I don't think you understand what that's going to entail. And he said, I didn't ask you that. I said, go sign up for classes. And he pushed me to do so. And so my journey was very long. That started the prerequisites and having a preemie baby, and um, you know, going through all that and being a new mom and a new baby, and then finding out some of the challenges that he was going to have. But I did it, and I went through school and had some failures and some repeats and change of jobs, and it didn't stop me. I was determined. I was headstrong. I knew I wanted it. I knew there was nothing else I could see me doing. I'd had many different jobs, but nursing was something I always wanted, but didn't think I was capable of doing. But I kept pushing. My husband kept pushing. He did not steer away from what he said. He meant it. He supported me 1,000% when others said that I couldn't do it. He believed in me that I could do it, and I did it.
What a beautiful journey. And thank you so much for sharing that. And to find yourself, it's amazing how life sometimes throws us in the right path, even without us knowing it, right? Like that's what it sounds like to me, that you found yourself through motherhood in the right space, in the right place where you wanted to be, where you wanted to serve others as a career, and having that partner help you and push you, which is how I feel that nurses are many times. You guys are those partners who are accompanying, those of us who may be in need of help when we're sick, or, going through something. I feel that that's kind of like the job that you guys really do. I mean, I know you do a lot more than that, but to me, that's invaluable. For people who are listening, who are watching, let's talk a little bit more about that, right? I just said that being that company is part of your job. Well, maybe other people think, I don't know, I think nurses just are the people that wait for the doctor to come and give them the orders, and then they go and do whatever the doctor says, and then they leave the room, right? Like, I think that's what we think about nurses.
Oh no.
Tell us a little bit more about what nurses really are, what you guys really do. What is a day life, say, in a shift for you? What does that mean?
Speaking to a 12-hour shift in a hospital, we start our day with having what we call a huddle, where the whole entire night shift team comes together in a room. We're told about the activities of the day, what may have taken place, that being if a patient has fallen, if we're short staffed, whether it be nurses, whether it be nurses' aides. You're told about the influx of patients, how many admissions we've had during the day, how many discharges we've had during the day, how many admissions are expected to come that evening, because I worked night shifts for 13 years. And before becoming a nurse, I was what's called a PCT, which is a patient care technician. So I worked closely alongside the nurses while in school. So I worked night shift for 13 years, and I continue to work night shift even as a nurse after graduating, because it just worked for our family dynamic at the time. But coming in a night shift, you get the rundown of what happened during day shift. You heard about patients that had challenges during the day, whether behavioral, whether medical challenges, whether you had a patient that was not doing very well, if you had a patient that changed their code status, if you had patients that were recently diagnosed with COVID, let's say that prior shifts they were not COVID positive, but now they are. So now, you have to use a gown If you were had any dealings with that patient, you had to let them know because you may be, affected by that or what have you. And so in that particular room, all those things are discussed. The assignment is passed out. You learn who your patients are for that night. You learn who your nurse's aide is for that night. And then you leave that room and you go find the nurse that had that patient during the day, and you begin to get report room to room you're going into and meeting your patients. And then you're hearing from that nurse about that patient, their past medical history, their allergies to whatever medication, what medication they're going to be treated with, what happened during the day, what testing took place, what diagnostics were done, possibly the results of those diagnostics, what doctor is treating that patient, what the doctor wants done during the evening shift, what didn't get done during the day that you need to handle at night, what family member was possibly at bedside, what family member wants to be contacted tonight, no matter what time, what test needs to be done tonight that is urgent, that could not get done during the day, and it's going to be done at said time because it needs to be done tonight, regardless of whatever, happens in the shift. Um, and things of that nature. And so then after you get all this information from your colleagues from day shift, they are now going to go ahead and leave for the day. And then you're after meeting your patients, you're going into what is called the med room and you're pulling your medications for the night. And sometimes it's a lot of medications. You're getting it for the first patient you're going to go see, and you have to prioritize what patient is the most urgent that you need to see, what patient has medications that need to be given right now, or what patient can maybe possibly doesn't have an urgent medication that needs to be given at this particular time. And you also need to sit possibly and look a little bit deeper into that patient's chart before going in and giving said medication. You also need to wait for your nursing assistants to go in and get that blood pressure on that patient, possibly if they're on a blood pressure medication, because you just can't go in and give said blood pressure medication, right? Because you could bottom your patient out, meaning you could drop that blood pressure even lower and wind up in a hypotensive crisis for your patient. My past unit that I worked on was a cardiac unit. And so you had to be very careful what medications you gave. Sometimes those medications had to be held and you had to let the provider know, I did not give this medication because this was the blood pressure for that particular patient. And if they were having surgery, well, then you had a whole other list of things that you had to do for that patient during the night because they're going to have surgery the next morning. Possibly sometimes surgeries got bumped because a more urgent patient had to go in and have surgery before your patient. And then you would have to call the family, let them know we have a tentative time, but that time could change. They may have to be pushed back. Then you have to make your patient aware they can't have anything to eat after midnight. There's bathing, specific bathing has to be done. There's certain blood tests that have to be performed. You have to make sure the phlebotomists come up by a certain time before that patient's going down for surgery, because they have to have done what's called a type-in screen, which is knowing their blood type. Yes, we may know, but we have to have a fresh blood test done before them going to surgery so that we have that particular type of blood prepared should they lose a lot of blood during surgery. And that is super duper important before they go down. And if it's not done, it falls on the nurse. EKGs that have to be done, so we have to know their current rhythm that they're in before going down to surgery that next morning. So all these things have to be done before your practitioner, nurse practitioner that deals with the cardiac surgeon comes in. All that has to be done. They have to be able to give it to that particular surgeon before even going into that surgery room and performing surgery on that particular patient. And if those things are not done, and if recordings are not done of how much they drank, how much they peed out, how much stool they produced, if their pain was not controlled, if their rhythm was not normal, if you did not record the cardiac rhythms throughout the night, if they had any alarms that went off on the cardiac monitor, well, why? Where were you that you didn't record it? And you have a max of 4 patients, and you have to keep an eye on each of those patients in that fashion. And if they're not going down to surgery, but they came back from surgery, you also have to keep a close eye on them, that they could have a issue with their rhythm because they just are returning from surgery. And then you have to address their wounds that they have after having the surgery. You have to follow whatever orders a doctor put in to dress those wounds after surgery. Now you have chest tubes that you have to keep an eye on and making sure that it's not suctioning too much fluid out and that the fluid has a certain color to it. And you have to make sure that they have the dressing must change and it's dated and it's timed when they had it done so that your colleague that's coming behind you know that it was done. And you have to make sure those patients are turned. You also have to make sure that they're out of their bed by a certain time in the morning, because the surgeons do not want them laying in bed when they come and do rounds in the morning. They have to be in their chair and ready for the day because it gets the blood flowing and the vascular system moving and so on and so forth. So there's a lot that happens in 12 hours. It sounds like it's more than 12 hours, but it is literally done in a 12-hour shift. And it has to be done. There is no excuses. There is no, well, I didn't get to it. That is your responsibility as a nurse.
Wow.
And you have diabetics sometimes, and you're titrating some trips. Sometimes there's cardiac trips that you're titrating, which means you may start at a certain amount and then you're bringing it down as the patient is starting to be able to tolerate it. They're coming down nicely. Whatever the rhythm is might have been very high, and now we put them on the strip to get their rate or the rhythm under control, and so now it's able to do that. So now you have certain orders and parameters that they are be able to be within, and so now you can take that drip down to a certain amount and keep it there. And then if they're tolerating it for 15 minutes, you can take it down some more to the point you may be able to take them off of that drip. You have certain orders and protocol that you follow for that. And so you have a charge nurse that backs you on that and is keeping an eye on it with you, but you're the main one responsible for that.
Wow, it's incredible. All of the work and all of the things that happen in just 12 hours, how you guys come and develop a relationship and get to know your patients so quickly, right? Because many times they're brand new patients who are there for those 12 hours with you, and then they move on to the next stage and then they're not with you anymore. But in those 12 hours, what's to me really incredible is there is a relationship that starts to being built, that starts happening in just those short 12 hours. You guys come in with a smiley face. You guys come in, and you mean business, right? Like, I know that you come and you say everything that you said, right? Things have to be done. There's no room for discussion. There's no wiggle room there. But yet, it's that care. Is that you guys are doing what you need to do, but there is a level of care that I would love for you to talk about when you go and you see your patient and you know that they are in pain and you know that they're going through whatever situation may be. Talk to us about that, beyond the medical, beyond the physical.
For me, I always say this because sometimes I would get a comment from a patient saying, "Oh, you're so nice, you're so sweet," and I say, "You can't be a jerk and be a nurse. It just doesn't work out," right? Um, and to me, you just can't. If you don't have compassion for doing this job, then don't bother doing it. Um, there there is money in it, sure. You don't make a bad living at it, okay. You're not going to get rich off of being a nurse. You're just not. You have to have compassion for people. You are seeing people at their absolute worst. You're seeing them on their worst day. When I started out as, like I said, cardiac surgery. And that's where I started out at. But some of us specialize in oncology. Some of us specialize in pediatric ICU. Some of us specialize in other things. And so you're seeing people at their absolute worst. I might see somebody that's coming in with, when I worked in the hospital in a fresh cardiac arrest, seeing somebody that has to have open heart surgery, somebody that coming from a cath lab and finding total blockage and may not be able to do anything for that particular patient. They've just gotten the worst news of their life. And so for me, it is super important to be encouraging, and it's super important to show compassion and to show empathy for them in the moment that they're going through. It is not about me. is absolutely not about me in that moment or at any time during that shift in the 12 hours. Yes, I have a job to do. Yes, I have orders that I receive from a doctor. And yes, I know what I have to carry out. But I go in and yes, there's moments you have to be stern with the patient and they may not want to move. But in that sternness, there's also love and there's also compassion. And I explain in such a way to them that, look, this is for your benefit. You want to get stronger. And the way you're going to get stronger is us to get out of this bed. You may be dealing with a mom that, is finding out that the baby is sick and is going to deliver and not be a healthy baby or have spina bifida or whatever. There's challenges in every part of every field of nursing. And field of nursing is huge. It's humongous. So you can never go wrong with going into the field of nursing if that's what you choose to do, but just be somebody that's willing to be compassionate and put yourself aside and be able to be understanding to somebody else's soul and spirit and what is it they're going through in that moment.
Knowing that there are so many opportunities in the field of nursing and there's so much to choose from, you know, what are some of those challenges? Because I agree with you. You have to have the heart to become a nurse. You have to have the calling to be a nurse. It's not for everyone. So understanding that there are a lot of opportunities, as you said, that you can make a good living, but that you should not go into it for the money. Let's talk a little bit about some of those challenges, some of the things that if you're considering switching careers or being a nurse, what are some of those challenges, some of those sacrifices, some of those things that you should keep in consideration as you're making that determination to go into the nursing career?
To go into the nursing career, the challenges. Nursing school is not easy. Some people may think that it is, and it's not. And it's made to be difficult for a reason because you're dealing with somebody's life. Somebody's life is literally in your hands. And people say, oh, no, it's the doctors that save us. It's the doctors. It's not, because the doctors come in for 5 or 10 minutes and look at a patient and they give the orders. Yes. And the nurse has to follow it. Yes. But the nurse has to check and make sure that those orders are correct before administering whatever medication that that doctor is giving. And if it's not, and you do it, it is your license that is on the line. It is you that's going to be in trouble because it is you that looked at it and administered whatever said medication it is. Nursing school is meant to be challenging because of that, because you literally have somebody's life in your hands. And it can't be somebody that's not serious about it, just going in and, going into it for whatever reason and not understanding the weight of what it is to go into this career. Now, going into nursing school, sure, if you got good grades all through high school, what have you, if you're young and you go into college, if you're an adult and you're going into college and you say, I'm an A student, nursing school, you may not be an A student because it's a different type of study and it's a different way of learning. Um, it's a different, it's hard to explain. The only thing I can say is like, it's kind of it's a running joke with us nurses that, when you're nursing school, they may give you a question and say, um, A, B, or C, and A, B, and C all sound good, but you have to find the one that sounds the best. Like the way that you answer a question is completely different. And then once you get into nursing school, you celebrate that, which you should, because it's not easy to get in. But once you get in, getting out is a whole other ball game. And it used to be A's and B's, um, C's, see you later kind of thing. But now most colleges require you to have a B to be able to pass and be able to get out of nursing school. And then they changed to NCLEX. It's doable. And for anybody at any age, it's absolutely doable, but it does require a lot of different way of thinking. It's what is it's a different way of thinking. You have to assess a lot of things. It's a challenging way of thinking. It's not like any test you've ever taken before in your life. And we always compared it to military school because the way that when you come in and you're about to go to your clinical, which is when you go to do your practice, at a nursing home or a hospital, your uniform is checked before you even leave. You're checked. I know in my school we had white uniforms and we were checked, um, like our garments, our undergarments, our underwear, our socks, they had to be a certain length. And if you had piercings and tattoos and all that was checked because they wanted you to look professional. They wanted you to take serious the role that you were walking into. And the students that were not serious, they were weaved out. And if they found out you had certain things going on at home, they tend to lean harder on you because they didn't want the ones that were occupied with other things representing their school. They wanted to put pressure on them so that they would not stay in the program. So it's doable. It is totally doable. I don't care your age, I don't care your background. If you want it, you can achieve it. In nursing, you can do anything from working in a cosmetic type environment where you give Botox shots. You could work in, like I said, pediatrics. You can work in the ER. You can work in a hospital. You can do home health. Sky is a limit. In any state that you go to, there's nurses that are needed. So it is a very rewarding career. It's a very stable career, but you have to remember to always make sure that you are paying attention to what you're doing to keep your license so that nobody can ever take it away from you because you will work hard to achieve it. It's
Yeah.
not an easy thing to get, but definitely possible.
And it sounds like you really, really enjoy it. And let's talk a little bit more about those joys. I know we've talked about some of the challenges, but there's a lot of joy in your voice when you're saying it. You're like speaking from your heart, and the love for your profession is shining through this conversation. So, some of the things that bring you the most satisfaction, the most joy about being a nurse.
I love being with people. I love making a difference. I love being with them in their most difficult time. I'm a person of faith, and to be able to pray with people when they're going through something and them knowing that I'm there for them, not just to give them a medication, not just to change their dressing when they have a wound, not just to take their blood pressure, not just to do a job, um, not just to do like robotic movements, right? Not just to do what I'm expected to do, but to let them know that I do care and that I'm there because I care about them as a human being, not just their illness, not just what it is that brought them to the hospital, because there's more to the person that you're looking at in that bed besides their illness that brought them there to that bed. Their fathers, their mothers, their grandmothers, their sisters, their brothers, they're a wife, they're a husband. There's so much more to these people, and they need to be heard and they need to be seen on all those levels. And when they're scared, they need that hand to be held. Sometimes they can't tell their other person in their life, their family member, what they are feeling, but they'll confide in their nurse, and they just need to be heard, or they need that extra touch from somebody that's outside of their family. And sometimes it is their nurse that they can talk to. And I think that's one of the challenges as nurses, is that we can become so robotic in what we're doing. And because we have a lot of those responsibilities, that we may not get that one-to-one time that we need to have with our patient and we want to have with our patient. I think that's the biggest challenge right now that we're facing, is the healthcare system is so overloaded, and that we don't have that one-on-one time with our patients like we would like to have, to be able to have that experiences with our patients. But we look for it, we try to get it in there, and sometimes it's possible, or we have to make it possible. Some of us sustain over shifts, some of us have clocked out and stayed with our patients, or have gone down the hall to that testing because their family member couldn't be there. I know I've done it. Going to visit them after hours, or found them on the other unit that they were on and visited them after they left my unit in particular, because you do care about them. It's not just about the treatment that I gave or the medication that I passed to that patient. You want to follow up with them and make sure that they're doing okay.
What a beautiful message. What a beautiful the way of showing that you care so much about what you're doing. And I really, Christina, I want to thank you so, so, so much for being a nurse who cares and who doesn't take her job just for that job, but to really, as you said just now, look at the person for the who fully are, wholly are, not just in that moment of vulnerability, because that's when we are our most vulnerable, when we are sick. But to have that compassion that you've spoken about, that combined with that knowledge, right? I think that's the true medicine that you guys give to us patients when we come and visit you, wherever that may be, if it's in a hospital, in a clinic, whatever setting that may be, as we've talked about all of the different options that are out there. Just to wrap our conversation up, is there any message that you would like to leave with people who are listening and watching this conversation today?
Um, for the nurses, just, stay in there and hang in there. We may not always get, the gifts or the accolades that we deserve as nurses, but know that we are making a difference in what we're doing, and our patients that may not be able to verbalize it, that we are doing a good job, and that your integrity is the most important thing. And, God sees us and knows what we do, and we continue to do it even if things aren't perfect, our system is not perfect. But remember what we are called to do. Remember why we got into it to begin with, to help people, and make that always be why we're staying in it. Don't let anything change you so much so that you decide not to do this anymore. And it is tiring, and there are days that are hard, and there are days that are really good. And just remember the focus and why we got into nursing to begin with. And for the patients and those that come into the hospital, I hope that you always have a good experience. I hope that you have a good nurse, and I hope that they care for you the way you should be cared for, and know that we are not above being a patient ourselves, that we also get sick. We are not immortal. We have our illnesses as well. Um, and that's how I try to treat my patients, as if it would be myself. How would I want to be treated if I was in that bed, or my loved one, or my family member? Um, I do take this job very seriously. I am right now, my not no, she's not mad at me, but she knows I advocate for my patients. I will fight to get what is needed for my patient, as I did for my son when he was laying there in that tiny little incubator, a tiny baby, and I had to advocate to get things done for him. I have not stopped advocating for him, and he's almost 18. I advocate for my patients just as hard, because it's important that my patients have a voice when they are not able to speak. The same way my son was not able to speak, but me as a mom looking in, I had to make choices for him and advocate for him to get him the care that he needed when doctors wanted to do things that were not necessary. Um, I can think of an instance. A doctor wanted to do a tracheotomy on my son. It wasn't necessary. I had to take him to 3 different doctors to find it wasn't necessary. And I was told he would grow out of it, that it was not needed for a tracheotomy to cut open his throat. And it wasn't. And he was fine. Those types of things. That type of fire and vigor that I had from my son, I have from my patients, and I will always have from my patients, because it is important that my patients get the best care, and I will be that best nurse. I took an oath when I became a nurse, yes, and I will stick to that always. If you're in my hands, I promise you the absolute utmost care. I don't care who I'm working for, what organization, what company, what hospital, whatever. If I'm your nurse, I'm going to treat you as if you're my blood, as if you're my family, and you're in the best hands. Because besides myself, God is watching me, and these hands belong to Him, and I'm not going to do any disservice to you. Whether you're American, tú eres Latino, yo hablo español, especially. I treat my Hispanic patients just as well, because I lived in Peru and I know what it was like to be in a country that didn't speak my language. And once I learned Spanish, I treat them with the utmost respect, and I advocate for them as well, and help them immensely when they don't understand the language, and explain things to them in their own language so that they get the best care.
To have somebody who cares for you with such deep, deep commitment, who's willing to advocate for you, who's willing to take care for you. I think that's the best message that Christina can leave us with today. And that wish for all of us to have a nurse like her. I really hope that it comes true every time that I need to go to the doctor. Christina, thank you so much
Absolutely.
again for taking the time, for connecting with me today, for the care, the love, the respect, the dignity, everything that you have just showed me today and all of us today with your words and the way that you carry your profession. Thank you so, so, so much for inspiring others to continue to serve in this way to those patients that they have taken an oath to serve in the way that you have. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Chris. It was a privilege, and I thank you for celebrating us this week and taking this time out to celebrate us.
Oh, absolutely. It is my honor. And we will be right back with Conectados. Stay tuned.
I was the owner of this house. We had the house for 2 days in the market. We had multiple offers, and the property sold $25,000 over asking price. Are you ready to sell? Call me. I'm ready to help you.
And we are back with Conectados, our weekly space to connect with resources, information, and most importantly, with one another. I am your host, Cris Oviedo. I hope you really enjoyed that conversation we just had with Cristina and her journey on becoming a nurse and the experiences that she has had, both as a patient, which is what inspired her to become a nurse in the first place, and the way in which she carries that profession with so much love, care, compassion, um, just a deep commitment to the health of each one of her patients, and that wish that she left us with for all of us to have somebody who cares like that whenever we need it the most. So I hope that wish comes through. And, the conclave is taking place, and soon we will have a new pope. But in the meantime, I invite you to listen to this weekend's homily from Father Jerry Bowen as he reflects on Pope Francis' legacy and invitation for us.
A new pope. There's all sorts of controversies and criticisms, and there are always criticisms of Pope Francis, because they thought he was not obeying dogma, not preaching doctrine, and he was being too open to the church, to people who were gay or divorced or, LGBTQ or transgender or crippled and it made me think, that's just what happened to Jesus. It's exactly what happened to Jesus. This man eats with sinners and welcomes them. When Jesus called Matthew to be one of the apostles, he wasn't encouraging theft, which was part of Matthew's problem. He was offering him a different way of life. When Jesus said to the woman caught in adultery, an interesting thing is only the woman was caught in adultery. It's at the very act of adultery. What happened to the guy? Where'd he go? He didn't show up at all there. So only the woman is being... Moses said that we should stone someone like this to death. What do you say? He says, let the person without sin for the first stone. So when Pope Francis said something like, who am I to judge? It was stunning, but it was perfectly consistent with someone who followed Christ. One of my classmates, who became a theologian but not a priest, wrote a very critical article in the Washington Post about Pope Francis's failed papacy, calling it tragic, confusing, and divisive. Well, here's something else that was written. And I'm telling you this because Jesus says, feed my lambs, feed my sheep, tend my flock. How do you do that? Here's what one person wrote. The loss of a good man, a tribute to Pope Francis and the power of universal faith. He says, I only met Pope Francis once. It was brief, just a few moments in a crowded room filled with dignitaries and seekers, some there out of duty, others out of belief. I was neither Catholic nor there on some divine pilgrimage. I was just a man in need of a little hope. And somehow, in that fleeting encounter, I received it. It's hard to explain without sounding overly romantic, but when you're in the presence of someone truly good, not performatively good, not publicly moral or selectively kind, but genuinely deeply, relentlessly good, something shifts in you. You feel lighter. You feel braver. You feel like humanity, for all its wounds and wickedness, is still worth fighting for. He says, that was the gift Pope Francis gave me. And I imagine from the tears I've seen today and the aching silences of millions across faiths, races, and borders, that he gave that same gift to many. Today we mourn not just the passing of a pope. We mourn the loss of one of the strongest chess pieces humanity had on its plane of existence. He was a man who made kindness radical again, who reminded the powerful that humility was not weakness, who spoke of love not as doctrine but as duty. He was not just a religious man. He was something far more rare. He was universally spiritual. I am Hindu. My God wears different names. My prayers come in different rhythms. But I would have followed this man through fire, because in his belief in God, he carried a belief in all of us. His eyes didn't see denominations, they saw dignity. His voice, always soft but never weak, carried the weight of truth, even when it unsettled the comfortable, especially when it unsettled the comfortable. This world has a way of chipping away at your soul. The noise, the greed, the hate, the empty rituals that masquerade as faith or patriotism or family values. It's easy to go numb. It's easy to give into cynicism. But once in a while, someone comes along who reminds us that the better angels of our nature are still within us, that goodness is still possible, that we don't need to be perfect to do good, we just need to be brave. Pope Francis was that man. He chose love over doctrine. He chose compassion over judgment. And most remarkably, he chose action over applause. He walked with the poor. He knelt before the discarded. He challenged the powerful, not with anger, but with moral courage. And he did all of this with a smile that felt like a prayer. He understood something many religious leaders forget, that God doesn't reside only in temples or churches or mosques, that holiness isn't a place, it's a way of living, a way of seeing others, a way of choosing kindness over and over, even when it hurts. So yes, today we mourn. I mourn, not just for the Catholic world, but for all of us. Because when a man like this leaves, it feels like a light has been dimmed. But maybe, just maybe, the way we honor him is by becoming the light ourselves. Let us remember his faith in humanity and let it fuel our own. Let us keep making the right chess moves in this complicated, brutal, beautiful game of life. Let us speak truth with grace. Let us protect the vulnerable, question the powerful, and lift each other up, not because of who we are, but because we are here together. Pope Francis believed in a world where dignity wasn't conditional, where faith was lived, not just preached. Says that world can still exist if we build it. Maybe that's the final gift he's given us, a call not to despair, but to duty. Because as long as we carry his belief in each other, then truly he has not left us at all. That was the miracle of this poor Pope who had a failed papacy. He was not only a good man, and not just a Pope, but he was transparently a human being.
I hope that you find inspiration to also be transparently a human being and to care for others in the way that we have been inspired and called to do. So with that invitation to reflect upon how we're living our life and how we continue to live it in a way that serves others, I'd like to close our show today. Thanking you for joining me every Wednesday at 9 a.m. in English and Fridays at 9 a.m. in Spanish. I want to thank my guests. I want to thank the partners who bring their segments every week, and my guest, Cristina, for taking the time to have that conversation and for serving in such a special way every patient that she encounters in her profession. Thank you all for listening, for watching. If you have other topic ideas, if you have suggestions, if you have comments, please email them at info@crisoviedo.com. I will put that email in the comments for you so you can get in touch with me, info@crisoviedo.com. Let me know what topics you'd like me to bring for you here in Conectados. Also, if you know people who have stories that they would like to tell, or that you feel should be told, please reach out to me. Let's make it happen. We heard Christina's story today and the beautiful journey that took her into this profession of nursing and the wonderful way, and she continues to carry out her story. That's what I wanted to continue to be elevating stories, the stories of people like you, like Christina, like everybody else around you. So reach out to me, info@crisoviedo.com, and let's elevate, let's really highlight, and let's celebrate the stories of each of us here in our community. I hope you enjoyed the content today. Please give it a like, share it with others if you found value in it, and if you think that it could inspire others, please share it with them. That's the whole point of this, is to connect with people and to take information and stories and things that can be of value and inspire others. So please go ahead and share that with your friends and family. Thank you so much for watching. I will be back on Friday in Spanish. So if you know people who speak Spanish, invite them to connect with me Friday at 9 a.m. right here in Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. Until then, I hope you enjoy the weather. I hope you have a wonderful, beautiful day, and I hope that you continue to live a life of servitude. Have a wonderful day. Until next time, I am Cris Oviedo.